Are you looking for the best MP3 player? In this video we will look at some of the 4 best MP3 player on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range.
Number 1. Sony Walkman NW-A55L. When it comes to music players, there's no brand with a greater pedigree than Sony Walkman. Past a certain age, everyone had a Walkman at some stage or another. And then Apple came in with their iPods and the monopoly was over. What you may not know is that the Sony Walkman brand continued after the advent of the .mp3 format, and the brand is thriving. In short, this one is one heck of a step up from your old Walkman. The NW-A55L, catchy name, is palm-sized, mostly taken up by a touchscreen, about a centimeter, thick with a row of buttons, on-off, volume rocker, play/pause, skip forward, skip backwards, and a lock slider, if you are wondering, down the right-hand side. On the left side, there's a port you can plug a microSD into to boost the memory. So far, so swish. You can add music to the device via either Bluetooth or the USB cable, which comes inside the box, and it's all simple enough. Just drag and drop the files. No fuss, no nonsense. But when you get the whole thing fired up, you start to see how much Sony has packed under the hood here. The opening screen is simple, the album cover and the simple controls. But flick up and you can see and adjust the EQ. There are several preset options such as bright and mellow, and 2 to customize to your own tastes. From there you can swipe left and right to adjust various settings. These can upscale CD quality audio to high resolution, make low-frequency response more like an analog amplifier, make the music sound more like it is being performed in a studio, club, or concert hall, minimize volume differences between songs, and adjust songs to make them sound more like they're being played from vinyl. Of course, the average user won't mess around with any of these settings, but it's a testament to the technology that it's all here if you want it. Back up to the main menu and you'll find all the generic stuff. Search by album, artist, genre, release year, or composer. Look up your playlists or just the songs you can play in high resolution, or use the MP3 player as an FM radio. I particularly liked a little feature called Sense Me, which curates your tunes automatically into playlists based on their mood. Sony has poured all its Walkman pedigree into crafting the essential MP3 player here at a price that you can't argue with.
Number 2. Estelle & Kern SR15. The SR15 is a top-quality MP3 player that offers the best music playback quality and almost exactly nothing else. With a price tag like this, it's one for true audiophiles only. The design is stunning. An off-kilter screen, nicely clicky scroll wheel, and shiny geometric back all add up to make this blocky MP3 player feel ultra-premium. Under the hood, it's all about the music. As you'd expect, you can play songs individually, by album, artist, genre, playlist, or folder. You can even select favorites and put them into their own little playlists. As you might expect, given the price, the sound quality is stunning, jaw-droppingly excellent. The best of the best. The player can handle what Estelle & Kern calls mastering sound quality, or MQS, which is essentially studio quality sound. You won't find a better audio player out there, aside from more expensive versions from Estelle & Kern. The quality is so good thanks to a specially designed high-performance digital-to-analog converter, DAC, and some top-of-the-range processors. All MP3 players have these microchips, but the quality can vary. Essentially, the DAC is the chip which turns your music from a binary data stream of ones and zeros into audio you can actually listen to. Lower quality ones can't keep up with some files' data rate, making music sound distorted or adding unwanted extra noises. Long story short, good quality digital-to-analog converter equals good quality music. And the SR15's DAC is very, very good quality. It can keep up with music from the highest quality files. That won't mean much to the average person, but for true audiophiles the difference will be immediately noticeable. There's also the chance to download songs from Wi-Fi. However, you can only get them from 2 services, Groovers Plus and Tidal. Perhaps more will be added in future, but for now that feels like a waste of a feature, given that most people use iTunes or Spotify. Still, other features more than make up for it, although, again, you'll need to be a real music obsessive to make the most of them. You can, for example, create your own equalizer, which is neat but basically incomprehensible for the average user. There are no instructions for those who need a tutorial on matters like this. The control system itself is intuitive: swipe right to bring up the menu, swipe left to bring up your current playlist, but the nuances of using the equalizer were essentially lost on me. That aside, my only real problem with the device is the volume wheel. On one hand, it feels very satisfying to use. On the other, even the slightest nudge brings up the volume controls, as you might expect. However, you can't do anything else while the volume controls are on screen, so if you nudge the wheel by accident, easy to do while simply holding the device, you're stuck waiting a few seconds before being able to return to the menu you were perusing or whatever. There is a lock function for the volume wheel, but this only works when the screen is off. Ultimately, this device is definitely not for the average person. True music lovers will adore the stunning audio quality. Number 3. FiiO M7. Right out of the box, the M7 feels like a premium product, though the price tag is far smaller than that of other top-of-the-line devices with a chunky, blocky design and aluminum case. There's not round edge in sight, giving this little brick a fairly unique look in today's soft, ergonomic tech world. I also really appreciated the volume control wheel, which has a satisfying click when you turn it. The M7 runs on a heavily modified version of Android which is clearly designed to mimic iOS. It includes only the most basic functions. You can't connect to the internet to download or even sideload apps. The operating system is essentially there to allow you to flick through your music. The music itself is of an impressive quality, though it's not quite up to the same levels as the Estelle and Kern product. It's worth noting that you'll need a decent pair of headphones to get the most out of the M7. If the quality gets too much for your headphones to handle, the M7 will immediately pause playing. Speaking of headphones, you'll also need them to access the FM radio. Most MP3 players don't have a radio antenna built in, so the wires of your headphones becomes one. Without wired headphones, you won't be able to use the radio. Having said that, I did have a bit of trouble listening into 2 major stations, and I struggled with others when my headphone wire was twisted. Overall though, the M7 is a brilliant little MP3 player with a refreshingly back-to-basics approach in terms of functionality. For audiophiles looking for a bargain, this one is a good choice.
Number 4.
Sandisk Flip Jam.
I was expecting to be disappointed by the Clip Jam. It's small, it's cheap, and it feels very plasticky and lightweight. However, once I turned it on, I was actually pretty impressed. The little device has tons of cool features, listed above. The FM radio is noteworthy as it worked even more easily for me than the same feature on much more expensive products. Of course, the music playback is the main function, and it works well with decent sound quality. You can play music on shuffle or by artist, album, or select individual songs which are played in alphabetical order by title. You can also make playlists on your computer and drag them into the relevant files on the device using File Explorer. The Sandisk MP3 Player is very basic, to be sure. It's clearly designed for activity, with the titular clip on the back of the device fitting perfectly over a pocket or on a waistband. Sadly, there's no Bluetooth mode, so you'll need wired headphones, but the device does come with a set, if you haven't got any of your own. Despite being seriously basic, it's very easy to use, works very well, and is packed with plenty of useful features. You get what you pay for in this life, but the Clip Jam is worth every penny.